just cute? Ain't it just so precious? She just praising the Lord, praising the Lord. Oh, and just look at him, look at him. One day them two gonna find each other and they gonna be married one day because it's just a holy marriage. Oftentimes people tell me that they chose their religion. No, you didn't. You didn't choose your religion. 99% of the time, you are part of a religion because either you grew up in it, like these two children will grow up in this religion, and then as they get older, they will justify everything in their life based on this religion because they were indoctrinated into it as a child. And as you can tell by both of them, they were looking at the parents and the other people who approval of what they were doing, making sure they were doing something they could do. And for them, it's just fun. I know, I remember being that kid. For those who did not go to church and weren't brought up in this type of environment, for the majority of the time, you grew up in either a country or a neighborhood where that was the predominant religion within your surroundings. So, like if you grew up in America when I did, there wasn't a lot of Islam around. There wasn't a lot of Buddhism or Hinduism and things of that nature. It was mostly Christians. Almost everywhere you go, there's a church, there's a church, there's a church, there's a church. They're talking about praying. You knew who they was talking about. It was a Christian guy that they was always talking about praying to. You had national days of prayer. You knew who they were talking about. All your friends, most of your family, they dealt with Christianity, and that's why you're Christian today. Unless you grew up in a country or in a neighborhood that you were surrounded by Muslims or you were surrounded by Hindus or something like that, or Indus, then that's when you decide that when you had this breakthrough, your breakthrough happened because you were accustomed to the people around you. For instance, now where I live in my neighborhood, it will be it's about a 50% chance that you could either be Christian or Muslim. My neighborhood is filled with Christians and Muslims. I see Muslims. My house is on the main entryway into the neighborhood. So I see almost everybody who goes by. I see all the people who are walking. There's two mosques as soon as you go out of the neighborhood. And then if you go that way, there's two churches. That's what you're surrounded by if you were only in this neighborhood for the majority of your life, and then you would more than likely be Christian or Muslim, depending upon which families you hung out with, depending upon what kids you hung out with in school. Religion is not something that you just gravitate towards because of some inspiration. It's something that you gravitate towards because of the people in the community and the nation to which you were surrounded by, the one that you were born into. And that's the saddest part about it. Your religion is more based on your geological birth and upbringing than it is some type of evangelism or demonstration of the people or some miraculous thing happening in your life. God, Allah, Brahma, none of them have come down and shown themselves to you face to face. They claim they did in their old books that was written hundreds of years after the supposedly act ever happened. But when did Brahma come to you? When did Yahweh, El, when did Jehovah, when did Allah come to you? Oh, some of y'all are going to say, he came, he spoke to me, I spoke to him, I heard him. You heard him on the inside, right? You felt him on the inside, right? They didn't materialize in front of you as if you was looking at another person. That's an emotional response to something going on in your life that finally made you break and gravitate towards some type of deity looking for salvation because you felt like the world done whooped your ass to the point where you need something outside yourself in order to be a greater version of yourself. Most of the time, it's because you're unhappy with yourself and the life that you've been leading. And so now you want to find something that's greater than you. Y'all have a great day. But always remember, you got to be yourself. You got to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibration.